Hello tankers and tankettes, welcome to a heavy tank replay of mine, and it's a low tier heavy tank replay for a change. It's the Churchill I, the tier 5 British heavy tank. I rather like this machine, and it's one I've held on to. This is actually quite a recent replay. It's a machine, a tank I play every so often just for the lols. And I can also say that about obviously the KV1 and the BDR as well. I don't actually have the newly demoted KV1S, which is now also a tier 5 heavy tank. I expect I will buy it at some point. Obviously I got it unlocked as I had the old KV1S in my garage, so I didn't get two tanks for free, alas. I did get the KV85, which is a pretty nice machine at tier 6. But the KV1S, as it is now, as far as I know, it's still a decent machine, but I'll have to actually pick it up and see for myself. And yes, this is a 9.3 replay, so it is otherwise known as the Michael Bay patch, and you can see why. So, the matchmaking is not that great, but it could be worse. There could be tier 7s. The gun on this does kind of make up for the relatively lackluster armour. It is more of a support tank when it's this kind of matchmaking. You still have a very good gun for a tier 6 match, but you don't really have the armour for a head-on confrontation with the top tiers. So that's why I'm initially thinking I'm going to go to the hill, because I can help clear that out, or potentially I could just sit up there and snipe down and just put this good gun to work. But obviously I'm paying attention to the minimap as I'm doing this, and you know, my speed is kind of working against me here, my lack of speed. This is not the most nimble tank, and that's another reason why people, I think the majority of people, prefer to play other machines. But that said, the tier 5 tanks generally aren't that nimble. But the Banana Street, basically the enemy tier 6s that are there, T-3485, the ARL and the T-150, they're all pushing that, and there's only our ARL to really stop them. So I'm actually going to turn around and hope that I can help our ARL. This is the point where I actually wish I did have a bit more speed. Even going downhill I'm barely pushing 30, but that said, you know, this is still one of the faster British heavies, up until you get to tier 8. I think this is the fastest of the British heavies. I can't remember what the Churchill 7 does. I think it's capped at 20, or 21, or is it 22? I can't remember. I'm pretty sure the Churchill 7 is the same as the Black Prince, basically. They're not fast machines. And the Churchill 7, I mean, the other downside of that is that although the armour, you know, gets a bit better, the gun is barely an upgrade at all. So, I can maybe get here in time to... no, our ARL died. But I managed to kill their ARL as well, so that was one dangerous top tier unit out the way. And we're already... I mean, our tanks are already... They're not really reacting to the threats, and I'm trying to get one in the rear of that T-3485, but I'm not quite fast enough. He's able to shoot our artillery, and I'm just trying to shoot on the move here. I'm trying to pick up a better angle, but he's actually retreating out the way. However, the T-150's there. He's not paying attention to me, so I've got enough time for at least one shot, but he's turning his tank, so let's quickly get out the way. Don't want to expose my sights to him. Our T-3485 has actually come back down from the hill on this side, which is important. The other two that went up there have gone down the other side, so they will, if they get to the enemy cap, they will potentially distract some units back. But if they do that, they are unfortunately going to get outnumbered quite badly. And you can see there, they're already taking damage. But the 3001P burned for quite a lot there. I don't think he had a fire extinguisher. Or if he did, he was very slow in using it. So, yeah, that end of that street is now cleared out of our friendlies as well. So, just trying to do a bit more damage against that T-150. Quite high value target. Fortunately, I knew I was going to take at least a hit there. But fortunately, it was only from the enemy T-34. And I think he was using the 57mm gun, so they weren't particularly high damaging shots, but that is still quite a lot of tanks to deal with. Now, the 3001P that was in the north died. The Leopard isn't going to last that much longer, although I think he manages to take one out before he dies. We've gone down to 4 versus, what's that, 7? The T-3485 really needs my help at this point, basically. Fortunately, only 2 of them have come forward. The KV-85 has really hung back for some reason. He's still in the central square area, even. T-3485 takes out the Chernu, and I'm actually going to take the lead now, because I've got more hit points. If the T-150 shoots, you know, if he shoots me... no, he instead chooses to shoot the other guy. If he shoots me, I can take the hit, but the T-34-85 must be quite low health by now. Now, he does actually shoot me, and it does actually bounce. Just occasionally, the Churchill armour will work for you. The side armour's pretty good if you're at a steep enough angle. It's the turret that usually lets you down, so I'm going to guess he didn't shoot me there. The front armour, I mean, there is that one patch of 152mm thick front armour, so it's usually worth angling your hull a bit. But the Churchill armour, you could never really call it reliable. You have to just kind of do your best and hope, basically, pray to RNGesus, and sometimes it will actually, it will work, it will bounce the shots, and I've had some fairly hilarious bounces with this armour before. So the T-34-85 goes up there to spot, hits the Marder 38T, which is nice, he's now a one-shot. Of the KV-85 there is no sign, he must have gone back. No, actually, he hasn't gone back, he's gone to our cap. Quite fortunately for us, you know, it's 2 versus 4. Quite fortunately for us, when we were dealing with those other two that were on our cap, the KV-85, instead of coming up behind us and shooting us, and that would have been that, he could have killed the T-34-85 with one shot, and then he could have disposed of me at his leisure. Instead, he drove all the way around the west flank and then drove onto our cap. So the T-34-85 is waiting for me to spot this guy, and I'm going to pop out, and this is a bit risky. I see he's got the 122, but he's looking my way, so the T-34-85 can shoot him. And he fires and misses. Yeah, that's the penalty of using that 122mm gun these days, is that it's not reliable. However, in that time, I have actually been flanked myself, so I'm going to get my front towards that guy, and I'm going to get my side away from the T-34. In the process, I actually scored 2 hits on the T-34-85, and that is one of the nice things about this gun. This tank generally, it's very good at firing on the move. The slow speed actually works for you. It's pretty decent at those kind of shots. So the T-34-85, he's now a one-shot kill, and I'm just looking to see if he pops out again, and he does. So we've gone from 2 versus 4 to 2 versus 1. I think we can manage it at this stage. Now, a big shout out to our T-34-85. I don't think we could have done this any better if we had actually been, you know, platooned up and on TeamSpeak. So, massive shout out to Modal Bass, who Tesla Clan. I think the Tesla Clan is they're like Serbian, I think. Anyway, basically, we were both pretty much paying attention to what the other person was doing, and although he came out of this pretty beat up, he has managed 4 kills, and he's about to manage 5 kills. I've managed 3 of my own, so that's 8 kills between us. That's over half the enemy team between our 2 tanks. And I think, you know, that enemy KV-85 frankly gave the game away. If we look at the score list, we can see that Modal Bass came out top with 1800, nearly 1900 damage, 5 kills, 1000 base XP. I had nearly 1400 damage, 3 kills, 900 base XP. The enemy KV-85, 0 damage. He could not have played that any worse. He literally couldn't have done any worse in that match. So, yes, the KV-85 on the enemy team gave it away, but we still had to use our brains there, and we still had to play smart, and we still had to stick together at those important moments and watch each other's back, because we kind of were. And it's always refreshing when you get that in a random match, and it's just, you're thrown together with that one person that you just somehow, even though you maybe aren't using any more than the in-game commands to actually communicate with each other, you still somehow pull it off as if you were actually platooned and talking on TeamSpeak and whatever. So it's really nice to get that teammate who is actually paying attention to what you're doing as much as you're paying attention to what they're doing. And we were able to coordinate that really nicely and take full advantage of the enemy KV-85's massive mistakes there, because as we can see, second from bottom on the enemy team, and he kind of fully deserved to be down there with that performance. So there you go. Even though the matchmaking wasn't that favourable, with a bit of unexpected teamwork, it actually came off really nicely, and it maybe shows some of what the Churchill I can do as well. I've put up Churchill I videos before. There's a whole segment of it in that Tier 5 comparison video I did, but I just think it's a nice tank, and it's a very good Tier 5 heavy, and even in this kind of matchup, as you can see, with a bit of brain power, you can actually still do really well for yourself. So, if you enjoyed this video, you can hit the like button, you can leave any comments below, you can subscribe to my channel, and as always, stay tuned for more.